We continued having those conversations for some time, spending the next several days having them, actually. And no matter how much I seemed to get through, there was always more. And believe you me, I learned a plethora of things, including the fact that I could shut off limiters from my physical body. And if you're wondering what that means, basically, every human being is equipped at birth with limiters for their physical activities, built in both physically and psychologically. Basically, these limiters' jobs are to make sure that we, as human beings, don't overdo it and tear ourselves apart. As a good example, say you want to punch someone in the face. Now, there are of course limiters that are placed in your body and psychology that control the amount of force that your muscles exert to ensure that even though you're throwing the punch, that you don't throw it so hard that you destroy your own body in the process. Now, with my brain upgrade, I'm able to override those limiters. So if I wanted to, I could shut them off and throw a punch so hard that I would shatter my own arm. Now, of course, this holds the problem that I now have a shattered arm. But the amount of damage that I'd be able to deal out in exchange for it would be far greater than the force of a normal punch. Of course, it was strong enough to shatter my own arm. And some people might think this poses a secondary problem. The problem that a shattered arm hurts like hell. However, once again, that's another thing controlled by the brain. Basically everything is, including your ability to perceive pain. I could actually disconnect that altogether. Make it so that I didn't feel pain from anything. You could shoot me a dozen times, break every limb in my body, fill my veins with boiling acid. Even if it would kill me, I wouldn't feel a thing from it. If I didn't want to. I was in the midst of having one of these conversations with Titan, the name I decided to go with for my motorcycle, or its personality, the AI program that's now installed into it, however you want to call it. I was having one of these type conversations with Titan, whilst installing a little upgrade. Titan's concern over the fact that it couldn't see or hear anything didn't go away, and I of course wanted to make them feel comfortable. So, I dug up the old sensory equipment that was part of the original XPC, but that I didn't include in the makeup or design of the motorcycle, as I didn't really think it was necessary for my motorcycle to be able to see. But that was before my motorcycle had a personality. So now I was going through the trouble of reinstalling both the equipment and the software that runs it. Now, as I was saying, the connection between us allows me to read your general position, the movement of your body, and things like that. But if I'm going to be able to effectively work with you as your possession, then I'm going to need to be able to interpret those movements. So it would be apt for us to do some training together. I need to get a feel for the way you move, your psychology when it comes to your actions and behavior. I need to be able to predict what you're going to do. That way I can effectively respond to these actions and movements. The less communication that's required, the more effective I can be, Titan said as I finished the last of the soldering for reconnecting the electronic sensory equipment. Okay, that should about do it, I said. Okay, Titan, give it a second. We have to let these solders set, I said, blowing on them a little, trying to cool them down. So, once this is complete, I'll be able to see, right? Hear what you guys are saying? Yeah, you should be able to see and hear just fine. If I had known that you were going to get put in there, then I probably wouldn't have removed this equipment to begin with. But I don't want you running around feeling like you're blind, so it's best to put it all back. Actually, I'm feeling a little bit ashamed of myself for missing the sensors that detected impacts and vibrations. Well, you shouldn't feel bad about that. Those systems are actually hardwired into the armaments that I have. The armor itself is equipped with equipment that picks up vibrations, impacts. This type of sensory equipment allows the physical form that I'm in now to sense the impacts from attacks and things of that nature. Or at least that's what I surmise its purpose is. Basically, it means that just because I can't see you hitting me doesn't mean that I don't feel that you did, because I can perceive the direction of attacks and the force of those attacks. I can aptly respond to them, much in the same way that a biological organism would. To be honest, I'm quite surprised that this was included. From your description of our environment, it doesn't feel as if the technology surrounding me is as advanced as me. Oh, well, Titan, I replied. That's because it isn't. As far as technology goes, the stuff you're made out of is, well, quite frankly, leaps and bounds above what most people have access to. You're made from cutting-edge technology. Or at least I thought it was cutting edge. But now cutting edge is starting to have some new meaning with this whole nanite stuff. I mean, I only thought that they could be used in machines. I never thought that they could be placed into people as well, and have effects like this. It actually makes me think about a lot of stuff. I mean, really, what are people inside of the walls like? Are they all a bunch of superhumans amped up on nanotech? I mean, it's crazy to think about, I said, scratching the top of my head. Well, regardless, I think the solder should be set now. Why don't you go ahead and try to activate your new systems and see if everything's working right? Okay, just give me a moment, Titan replied. Yes, I'm clearly perceiving the new systems now. Accessing the programs. The programs seem a bit base, but functional for the time being, I suppose. Activating auxiliary programs now. For a short time after that moment, it got silent. Titan wasn't really saying anything. Hey, Titan, I announced. Are you in there? Is everything okay? I mean, is the equipment running? Did something malfunction? I asked, feeling a bit concerned. No, not at all, Titan replied. It's just the world seems so strange when you actually see it. I had detailed information on your physiology, but actually seeing you somehow feels different. I don't really know how to describe it, except that I'm experiencing a sensation that I can't quite put words to. I simply don't know how to describe it. Oh, do I really look that bad? I mean, my hair is a little bit of a mess, but it kinda usually is. I'm not the most tidy of guys. Sorry if I'm disappointing, I said, staring into the camera, or at least this primary one, that pointed outward from the front of Titan's body, right in front of the handlebars, so she could see what was ahead of her. No, you're not at all disappointing. Honestly, for whatever reason, you're quite pleasant to see. I'm just a little bit curious. as to why seeing you makes me feel so different.